She ran through the forest, not from the men that chased her, but to the thing that would protect her. Their persistence would be their doom. She could easily outpace them and disappear in the woods. However, that was not her intent. She kept just enough ahead of them to keep them on her trail. She smiled as she ran, breathing easy, steady, graceful, and beautiful. The men chasing her were not performing so well. Each of them had fallen a couple of times in turn and were breathing like elk being run down by a pack of wolves. The children of men have no place here, you see. Clumsy, senseless beasts that have no respect for the creatures of the forest. That's all about to change. Ancient nostrils pull in deep the scent of her. She is close and getting closer. She was running. It thought out to her, "What's wrong?" She picked up its thoughts immediately and thought back to it, "Men." It sprang from its place of sleep and crashed through a dead tree at the mouth of the cave where it had lived for over 200 years now. Powerful muscles and clawed feet dug at the earth. Debris shot out behind it as it raced through the forest. It ran in a straight line to her, disregarding anything in its path, jumping over what it could, crashing through what it needed to. She thought out to it, "I feel you, my love. I feel you rushing towards me. Hurry. But be careful. They have guns." It thought back to her, "Good. It will give them more courage. Lead them to the creek bed, by the tree. I'll meet you there." It flew off a 9-foot embankment without missing a step. Feet dug into the rocks and it shot forward, heading towards the tree. It startled the birds up from trees and rodents scattered in its path. Its eyes burned red. The price for humans being in his forest was death. The price for chasing his love through this forest was gnashing, breaking, screaming death. It reached the bend in the creek and jumped 12 feet straight up into the giant oak and nestled itself back in the branches where it was dark. It thought out, "I'm here, love, in our tree, where we first met. Bring them to me. Be swift and be careful." The race was coming to an end. She could see the top branches of the mighty oak. She knew it well, and knew that her love was waiting. "I'm almost there. They're close behind." "Excellent. I'm ready." Her intended path was blocked by a fallen tree. She could have easily leapt over it, but she clumsily crawled over it to give her pursuers a sense of hope. She giggled in her mind at herself. It thought to her, "Be careful." She laughed and thought, "I'm fine, love." The forest grew darker as she led them closer to where it denned itself. There was no bird song here, no sounds at all, just the wind. It wasn't long before she could see the old creek bed and the trunk of that old tree. She jumped the bank and grabbed a piece of a branch. She turned to the men following, acting exhausted, and stood just below the big branch that was hanging over the rocky bed below. The fools just kept coming. It tensed in the branches, waiting to spring. It thought to her, "Draw them in close." She fell back on her ass and crab crawled backwards, acting terrified, and dropping her club. They had done this before. It jumped out of the tree as the youngest man leaned in on his beloved, arms wide, all claws and deadly fangs. The machine gun fire came from the creek bank opposite of the tree,